Welcome to our In Focus discussion tonight on National Women's Small Business Month. Did you know that up until 1988, some states required women to have a male relative to co-sign for business loans? Of course, we've come a long way since then. According to the State of Women-Owned Businesses report, women are starting businesses at a rate that's double the national average. However, with lingering disparities in revenue, there is still work to be done to empower these emerging entrepreneurs. Kicking off our conversation tonight is Brandy Vega, the CEO of Vega Media Studios. Brandy, pleasure to have you here. Thank you for joining us tonight.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Now, Brandy, what led you to start or get the idea to begin your own media production company?
Well, when I was about 10 years old, I was sitting around and I was watching the news. I saw somebody doing a report and I thought, man, that's what I want to do. That started this whole chain of events. I ended up joining the Army at 17 as a broadcast journalist, public affairs specialist. I worked in TV news and I knew that was the only way I was going to be able to pay for college. Came back and landed a job reporting for Fox at 20 years old. And I worked in the industry for a long time. And finally, I was hired by a company to be their VP of media and marketing and sales. So I went and I did that, and I was building this company for almost 4 years, and the whole time I'm watching the numbers grow, sales increase, and I'm having to answer, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but to the men in charge. And it was hard for me because I felt like I wasn't able to do everything that I had wanted and hoped to do, and I started watching it, but I didn't have the good role models, so I didn't know kind of what was possible. And then about 8 years ago, I just decided, you know what, I built this company inside of a company, I'm gonna do it myself. And that's kind of how it started, was just learning the ins and outs and taking the hard knocks and starting my own company.
I love that, lady boss. And for our viewers at home, if Brandy looks familiar, that's because Brandy used to be on this side. She used to work for ABC4 from, I think you said 2004 to 2010. Was that right, Brandy?
Yeah, I was here. I love ABC4 and this family was a great place. But I worked here and I had a little daughter. She would kind of come with me. It was so cute. And I love media, I love marketing, I love promoting women and doing all of these things. So I'm really glad that we're having this conversation, because it's hard to believe that stat that you read, that back then we had to have a male co-signer. And I kind of, in the military, it was definitely a man's world. And then I worked in law enforcement for a little bit doing their media, and that was definitely a man's world. And nothing against that. Like, there's great men in business. This isn't women are better than men, but we're definitely equal. And I think that that's one thing that we're good at. We're multitasking, and now we're here to talk about this. And it's been great to also, as I learn and grow the hard way, to be able to mentor people.
Yeah, well said. Brandy, how do you see women shaping the media and marketing industry?
Well, it's been great. I mean, social media is as much good as it does. We also know that there's some bad, but for me, I use that to build my business, getting on there, promoting strong women, finding these groups, learning how to support other businesses, and just getting vocal and getting visual, putting it out there. I love that we're able to do that more in a visible way, supporting one another.
And as a woman in business, do you see any particular obstacles as you operate in the media and marketing industry?
There's always going to be obstacles no matter what industry you're in and what you're dealing with. In fact, I had kind of a difficult little punch in the gut a week or two ago when I lost a government contract that I worked very hard on. And sometimes it is a little bit discouraging, because you feel like, in some ways, it's like still the good old boys network. And that it's tough to break that. I think that some people in previous generations are maybe still stuck in that mindset that maybe women don't quite have what it takes. And so there's still some challenges here and there. At the same time, I've seen a lot of really strong other men come out and help and support. So it's going to be the same struggles you have in any industry.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle, but we've made some progress, but there is still more progress to be made. What have been the benefits of being a female business owner in your industry?
Well, I have 2 daughters. I have a 19-year-old and a 15-year-old, and they've been able to see me. I came from a single mom. My mom worked 3 minimum wage jobs just to put food on the table, and it was a struggle. I mean, I started selling rocks and learning how to do business at 5 years old, selling rocks on the side of the street so I could have food to eat. And my mom was incredible, but I just didn't have the mentors. I didn't know what was possible. So this year, I was able to join a group called the Women Who Succeed. it's a success in education. And now I'm able to mentor other high school students, college students, and some junior high students in the STEM and technology fields to just show them what's possible. If I had known what was possible and if I had had a little hand-holding or guidance, I think that, man, I could have been here 15 years ago. But I'm just really thankful now that I'm able to help lead others. In fact, I wrote my first book this year. It's called Bringing Value, Solving Problems, and Leaving a Legacy. And that's what I hope to do, and that's what I've been able to do in this business, is to lead and show different people. So it's been fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing your incredible story with us. So Brandy, how do you balance being a mother, being involved in multiple nonprofits, and then running your own business?
It's a juggle. It is a struggle. Any parent can tell you that, any single parent especially. But I found that quality time is more important than quantity time, making the most of every minute, living every day as if it's your last. I volunteer with Nobody Dies Alone, and I've seen over the last 6 years that it's important to just love everybody, to live every single day, and especially your kids. I almost lost my 14-year-old this year to suicide, and so now I'm advocating for that. Mental health is a big thing, but I think the most important thing you can do is take time to secure your own oxygen, breathe, love those around you, and make sure that you are taking care of your mental health.
That's a great conversation and a great point that you bring up. I feel like the longer that we work, especially in the media industry, the more we value, right, ourselves, our mental health, and the time with the people that we love most. Okay, Brandy, we've got about 30 seconds. What is your best advice to women out there that are, you know, looking or maybe thinking about the idea of starting a business of their own?
I would say, this is one of my favorite quotes, is life is what's given, opportunity is what's taken. None of us get to determine where we were born, what race we were, what our circumstances were. All of us were given life. That's given. But opportunity is something that we can take every single day, and you've just got to be willing to go after it. Don't listen to the naysayers. Believe in yourself, and those people who are telling you can't are because they're afraid to try. So don't be afraid to try. Don't listen to the negative Nancys. Just go out there and do the best you can and find a great mentor.
That's a great quote to end our conversation with. Folks, you've been hearing from Brandy Vega, the CEO of Vega Media Studios. And Brandy, thank you so much for joining us tonight to share your experience. It was good to have you back.
Appreciate it.
We'll be right back. Thank you for staying with us for our second In Focus discussion tonight on National Women's Small Business Month. Up next in our conversation is Shema Awasiti, President of Global Relief Humanitarian. Shema, welcome to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me over.
Shema, you run an international nonprofit business. So what led you to Globus Relief and its mission?
One of many reasons why I wanted to join Globus team is I lived a fortunate life. I'm originally from the Middle East. I traveled a lot. I've been raised by a general. So we've been escorted from one place to another. When I came to the U.S. 12 years ago, I wanted a change. And that simple change, I decided to join Globus team in order to help the people and do good as much as I can. And I worked my way hard. I am the president of the nonprofit right now. And while my travel around the world, I noticed we always, in third world countries, there's a lack of medical resources around the world. So because of my background, and that just touched me so much, I figured if I can be a good asset to Globus team, why not join this great company? We have such an amazing mission. We are around the world. We try to deliver healthcare services as much as we can.
Now, you've recently been named president of the organization. What have been some of your biggest challenges so far?
One of my main challenge for now is the transition on trying slightly to change the mission of our organization. We've been known for a very long time delivering the healthcare worldwide. What I'd like to do is slightly make a change in terms of unifying Globus Relief, uniting Globus with other NGOs and trying to do provide healthcare resources and services around the globe. I'm a believer, the more you bring around the table, the greater the impact is.
So we talked about the challenges. Let's talk about the benefits. What have been some of the benefits of being an international female leader?
I think empowering women to stand out and do good and stand by your hard work so you can lead others to follow.
Shema, what are some of the differences that you see in operating in the U.S. versus other countries as a female leader?
I've been fortunate working in the U.S. for quite some time, and there's a lot of room to grow and so many opportunities. Unlike third world countries, they lean to give the leadership role towards men more than women, even though women try to put so much effort and so many hours, but that's just been the mindset for so many years now.
Now, when communicating your message, how has social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter aided your organization's mission?
Honestly, it wasn't so active before I joined Globus Relief, and since I took over for the last month or so, I think my main focus is I would like the people to understand why we exist. Globus Relief exists to prevent death, illnesses, and people and suffering people, that people are in need. I would love to be upfront and talk about Globus as much as we can, more than we used to before, because honestly we touch thousands of lives on a daily basis and millions annually.
And you are also the mother of 3 girls, so what do you hope that they see from you in your leadership with Globus Relief?
I would like them to learn how to make the time to give back and help the community and help the disadvantaged people as much as they can.
Shema, what's your best advice to women out there that are looking to start or lead a business of their own?
Believe in yourself, be out there because you can do it. Stand by your hard work and your success so other people can recognize it, because it's such a competitive environment, even though if you have to work your time all the time to achieve your goals.
Shema, we have time for final thoughts. What's your parting message to our viewers, or what do you want them to think about when it comes to Women's Small Business Month?
I would like people to understand it's not so easy to be in this position. It takes a long time. It takes you away from your family in order to achieve the goals or the mission of your accomplishment of your company.
Right, it almost feels like we're starting behind a little bit at the starting line, but we still are able to catch up and be right neck and neck, shoulder to shoulder with our male counterparts. All right, you've been hearing from Shema Al-Wasiti, President of Globus Relief Humanitarian. And Shema, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, such a pleasure.
We'll be right back. Welcome to our third and final and focused discussion tonight on National Women's Small Business Month. Rounding out our conversation tonight is Jill Coyle, owner and president of Coyle Law. And Jill, great to have you here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me tonight.
Jill, what was your motivation in opening up your own law firm?
You know, I am in a male-dominated field, being as a lawyer, and I worked my way up and was working at the very large law firm in Utah, kind of every lawyer's kind of aspiration or dream. But what I realized is that as a woman, I was never going to be able to find the work-life balance to be able to also create and do exactly what I want to do. I knew that I was creating something really great within this firm, but it wasn't mine. And so I was ready to go out on my own, take that really big leap of faith, and start Coyle Law, which is now one of the largest family law firms in the state.
So Jill, could you tell us about how working as a lawyer for someone else's law firm differs when you're actually running your own law firm?
Yeah, it's interesting because as a lawyer, especially in family law, a lot of it is marketing yourself. Like, most people don't really care what the law firm is. What they want to see is that they're going to be getting a really quality attorney. So here I was being a really good attorney, and I was building this business, and I was bringing in people that really wanted me as their lawyer, but yet I was having to then, you know, give all the revenue over to the firm, and it just didn't make sense. You know, I always make this saying that if you're, you know, you either are going to build your own empire or you're going to help somebody else build theirs. And I just wasn't wanting to build somebody else's empire anymore. I knew 2 things. I knew I was really, really good at being a lawyer. I knew that my clients needed me, and I knew that I had that wealth of knowledge to be able to help them. The second thing I knew is that I knew that I had courage and belief in myself. And those are the two things that you need when you decide to start a business. Is it's going to be guts, but it's also going to be what's your skill and what are you going to bring to offer to the rest of the world.
Woo, I love it. You go, girl. So as a woman in business, what do you see as the biggest obstacles to starting and then growing your own law firm?
Oh man, there's so many obstacles for women still. I mean, you heard the statistic at the beginning of the news cycle where, you know, just 20 years ago, how hard it was to even get a business loan. Even today, with us having, you know, restrictions on funding. I mean, growing in the tech industry is one of the most multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar industry, and women are still, you know, discriminated against when it comes to funding, getting funding for their businesses or getting people to invest in them, just because them being women. And as much as we want to say, oh, this isn't against, you know, men, or it's a reality that we need more people supporting women in their ventures. We offer something that nobody else is going to offer just by the fact that we are women. And we make up 50% of the population. We are needed in every industry, in every sector. And it's going to take men out there, it's going to take everybody else saying, hey, I'm going to support you in this because we know you're needed. And I'm here to kind of offer that hope, that, you know, change, and I'm going to be that leading woman that's going to be out there and say, see, I proved you wrong. We can do it.
Now, we know that the ratio of employees who are women is not equal to the amount of women who are in ownership and leadership roles. So I agree, we need more women in these positions. So Joe, we talked about, right, the challenges. What have been the benefits and advantages of starting and leading a woman-owned business?
It's been amazing in the fact that, first of all, I had control, right? I had control over exactly what I wanted. I worked at several businesses before I started my own, and I was able to take everything in those firms that I knew I never wanted in my own firm. So I've created a culture that I know I would want to work with, which means other people are going to come and work with me. One of the most important things you can do when you're starting a business is surround yourself with amazing people. I find myself, and I pride myself a little bit on the fact that I have a knack for finding very good people. And I know for a fact today that Coyle Law and all my other endeavors that I am doing would not be where it was without the people that are supporting it, working, and believing in the same mission that I've created.
I want to also talk about social media because I saw some of your TikToks. So how has social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, help you grow your business?
It's ridiculous because I shouldn't be dancing on TikTok, but it's part of what we need to build the brand. It is there. If you want to create and reach a certain demographic, you're going to have to get on Facebook. You're going to have to get on Instagram. You're going to have to do TikToks if you really want to. And it's silly, but what it is doing is allowing my message to get to as many people. And if I can reach as many people as I can doing silly TikTok dances, I will do that because I know that I have something to say. And I want to be that person to inspire that girl, to inspire that woman sitting there on the couch today watching this thinking, I just don't know where to start, to say, guess what? Most people don't. The biggest obstacle you can do is have that courage and do it. And I promise you, if you have purpose, you know you're worthy of it, then you can create it. Whatever you want to do. And we need people like that. So if I can be that person doing a TikTok dance to bring you into my brand, to bring you into my message so that I can inspire you, that I can kind of be that person, hey, Joe Coyle's doing TikTok dances, maybe I can too. I'll be that person.
I love your energy and just the way that you've really taken advantage of this algorithm that comes with social media. It can be such a powerful tool. Now, Joe, you've expanded your business to 2 law firms. You've got an online platform, and recently you released your first book. On top of that, you're also a mother, a wife, and you're active in your community. So what have been keys to balancing all of that as well as your growth?
You have to have your tribe. You have to understand the people around you that are going to support you to be able to do it. Because honestly, I couldn't do it all by myself. I have an amazing husband who has been fully supportive of me flourishing and doing and achieving my goals. He's been there every step of the way. And when I want to come on television, you know, on a Wednesday night, he's at home making sure those kids are taken care of. It's things like that, surrounding yourself with the ability to reach and do what you want to do. The second thing is believing that the excuse that you're telling yourself of why you can't do it is the brick wall you are building to keep yourself from doing it. So stop building your brick wall. Stop with the excuses, because anything is possible. Anything can be created. It just first starts with you believing in it and believing in yourself.
Well said. Jill, we've got a minute left. What is your advice to women out there that are looking to start a business of their own?
I think it's just, the first is you have to be good at your craft. Why do you want to do what you want to do? Because you're right, there's a million other competitors, there's a million other ways of people doing something. You have to come with, hey, I'm really good at what I'm doing first, and then you have to come up with the idea of how you're going to make it better for the rest of the community. That's really, really important. So having your solid business plan. We heard about mentorship a lot tonight. I want to give you a little warning. There are so many people out there that will say, I will take your money to mentorship you in building your business. Be leery of that, because guess what? There's so much content out there. There's so many women that want to give you their advice or tell you, hey, this is how I did it. It's not necessarily going to work for you, but they want to give this information for free. So don't just go run out there and say, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend all this money. Finding a good mentor or a good coach who believes in you is going to be number one. Somebody that just doesn't want to take your money, I think, is really important. And just believe in yourself. You can do it.
Well said. You've been hearing from Jill Coyle, owner and president of Coyle Law. Jill, thank you so much for being a part of this conversation tonight.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And don't forget, we would love to hear from you about the show. We invite you to join our Facebook group by searching for ABC4 In Focus, or you can send us an email, infocus@abc4.com.